This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
He is locked and loaded and ready to go. All right, my man. So talk to me. What did you see in the locker room? Did you see Teron Armstead?
No, well, Teron Armstead was seen on crutches leaving the facility. So not while we were in the locker room. I'm guessing they tried to work him out some other way, but then was seen exiting through the backside of the tunnel to exit on crutches. So yeah, right knee knee. Yeah, I believe it was the right side if I remember from the replay. Went down as a knee, and then obviously questionable to start, and then was deemed out the next quarter. So Mike McDaniel said it wasn't a re-aggravation of any of the prior injuries that he's dealing with. So now another one to tack on for Armstead here.
What stupid excuse did he give you going for the 2-point conversion?
Boy, let me see. I wasn't in there with McDaniel. I was in the locker room this time, so I'll have to check back. Were you aware of the quotes from McDaniel at the podium?
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
that's why I asked. I'm wondering if he gave some stupid ass because there is no stupid. There is no smart explanation. There can only be a dumbass explanation because it was incredibly freaking stupid to go for that 2-point conversion, just like Vic Fangio not adjusting and putting X on Diggs, bro. What is that?
You said it. Two of the things right there. And I'll have to look back if McDaniel did answer about the 2-point try, but I just don't see it because it was an 11-point game to get to 9. I think I heard someone else in the press box saying, oh, well, now if they score, it's 16, so it's still a 2-point or 2-possession game. But I'm there thinking that's just one small scenario out of so much else that could happen where I just don't see the upside of getting to 9 in that situation. So if he was
in fact, after you scored, you cut it to 14, and if you had kicked that extra point and you scored 2 touchdowns, you now are leading the game instead. So that point came back to haunt you like right away, even though in the end it made no sense, but it was still a dumb move by the coach. Like absolutely stupid, just like Vic Fangio, bro. And I'll keep saying it, and I'll keep saying it over and over again. Josh Boyer did more with less than Vic Fangio.
Yeah, well, you've been saying it week to week, going back to week 1. And then I remember I was trying to tell you, hey, if Vic Fangio's the Dolphins' biggest concern after that Chargers game, then that's a great situation to be in. After this game, boy, that was rough to watch. You said the one thing there, Kader Kohou staying on one side. I asked Kohou. He said it was just about staying on your side. Xavier Howard stayed on one side, Kohou on his side. So what did the Bills do? They're just saying, okay, Stephon Diggs, even though, he's had his back and forth with Xavier Howard in that matchup. Oftentimes there have been cases where Diggs gets the best of X, but now we see just how much greater of an advantage it is for the Bills when he is going against someone like Kader Kohou. So what are the Bills going to do? They're going to put him on Kader's side all game, and Josh Allen's going to keep going to him, and then it led to 3 touchdowns between the two of them, and then obviously 6 catches, 120 yards for Stephon Diggs, and a big pass interference too.
I mentioned this to Safedine, who was on earlier with us. I'm benching Bradley Chubb, and I'm starting Andrew Van Ginkel when Phillips comes back.
Yeah, that's something that's becoming a possibility. It's something that I would not have said to start the season after it's a guy that you traded a first-round pick for, but Bradley Chubb is not giving you much of anything aside from that one game against New England where you thought, okay, that'd be the turnaround for him, but then you just haven't seen it since. And Andrew Van Ginkel's playing at such a high level, specifically on that side when he's filling in for Jalen Phillips, but he's a guy that's versatile. He could do it on the other side and gives you the versatility now that he's added playing inside linebacker too. So I'm looking quickly for Bradley Chubb's stats. And
he's all the way in the bottom.
Yeah, 2 tackles, and he got a hit on the quarterback. So you need more out of him for sure, especially when Andrew Van Ginkel got you 2 sacks in this game.
2 sacks, 3 tackles for losses. He has more tackles than Bradley Chubb. He had 5, 4 of them solo. Are you kidding me, dude? He outplayed Bradley Chubb by miles.
Yeah. If anything, there's a greater share of the outside linebacker reps on each side that's got to start going to AVG once Jalen Phillips is also healthy.
Did you see what the Bills did, dude?
What did the Bills do?
They put out the elevator, and they put
wow
that says we're taking the stairs.
Oh, I gotta look for that one now. Well, the Bills won in all 4 phases of the game now. Also, social media, along with the 3 of football.
5 coaching.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, they thoroughly outcoached. McDaniel got so outcoached, it's not even funny. And yeah, dude, I thought they were ready for this moment, and man, I could not have been more wrong about these guys today. It's just a shame to watch the way they got outcoached. They got out hustled. They got outplayed. Linebackers played terrible. The tackling was terrible. Outside of Van Ginkel, no one else showed up. It's not just Chubb. No Agba, no Christian Wilkins, Sealer. Nobody showed up. Javon Holland made a couple of bad mistakes, took a bad angle, one of the big Cook run. I mean, dude, it's hard for me to find anything positive on that defensive side.
Yeah, no, definitely not on the defensive side. And one thing that stood out in the locker room to me is just there's not a lot of guys that are just taking it so hard, like Zach Thomas used to. And I didn't cover Zach Thomas. I mean, obviously, I watched him growing up, and but I know I see you shaking your head already. He took losses hard. He took them to heart, and then that, as the leader of the team, then that resonated through the locker room. So. I don't see them taking it that hard. I don't. Maybe it's something overblown in the media that and those on the outside that we need to see them feeling as rough as the fan base is feeling over the loss. Now, if they bounce back, then we call it resolve. But if this leads to more performances like this, then at some point you got to say, why is this team not putting its foot down and saying enough of this?
Yeah, and you got to look at what's developed so far in the first 4 games. You have struggled against the 2 passing offenses. Okay, you had to shoot out and outscore the Chargers in order to survive. And then here with the Bills, obviously they're much better than the Chargers because they're way more complete on defense, and so they ended up getting the best of you, in the process. And then in between, you played teams that really aren't that potent, which is what's going to happen now. You're going to play against the Giants, and you're going to play against Carolina. These are frauds. These are nothing. These aren't teams that you're supposed to measure yourself with. It's the Eagles down the line. And even though, let me tell you something, even with the Eagles, they don't even have the passing offense that the Chargers and obviously, the Bills have. So there's something there, too, that you got to look at and say, okay, you guys were 3-0 and now 3-1, but there's a problem when you're facing a high-powered offense.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to a greater extent, the classes of the NFL, this loss shows that the Dolphins still aren't in that upper echelon as much as people wanted to rush to get them in there. You still look at this game against the Bills, and now you still got Philly coming up not too long in the future, and then Kansas City in Germany. So those will be big other tests, and then eventually you're going to see this Buffalo team again in the regular season finale. So we'll see how this team responds if at that point the Dolphins are still in the mix for maybe the AFC East crown, and that game shifts it one way or the other. You get that one at home, but right now this was a very discouraging defeat today.
Yeah. Injury-wise, outside of Armstead, anything else?
No, I think the Dolphins came out clean outside of Armstead, which is a big blow to see him again. Although Kendall Lamb has been solid, serviceable, and replacing him the time that he has spent there. So we'll see more probably in the days after. Sometimes injuries pop up that someone was able to keep going on adrenaline, but then it pops up afterwards that they'll have to miss some time, maybe limited in practice, things like that.
What your thoughts on Eichenberg's play?
Yeah, well, I think I saw one very low snap that almost like a ground ball to it was a quick screen, so he had to almost turn 2 there. He looked like a second baseman or a shortstop throwing to the bag, catching a ground ball. So outside of that, wasn't too noticeable. And I'll tell you, I spent most of the second half just writing my article because I had just about seen everything I needed to see.
Yeah. And he had the penalty too that was bad. I mean, he wasn't great. He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't great overall. The Connor Williams injury, where do we stand on that right now?
Yeah, well, I think from a bigger picture, just the offensive line as a whole didn't work as well because Tua four sacks when you only had 1 through 3 games, 9 quarterback hits in this game alone. You only had 5 through the first 3 games. So I think you saw even when it was between before Teron Armstead and after Teron Armstead's injury, then they were still getting pressure. Buffalo was. So I think from a greater extent than what Eichenberg was doing individually, it was just how it sort of disrupted the offensive line as a whole, and you probably give credit to Buffalo's front as well.
Yeah, man. It's just it was a frustrating day to watch that Miami. Unfortunately, the reality is they are not ready to be the prime time players, as they used to say in Saturday Night Live. They're not ready for prime time players. That's where Miami is right now. They're not ready for prime time players. For McDaniel, is this one of his worst coach games?
Well, I do point back to that Chargers game against Staley last year. He got some revenge week 1 this year, but that might have been the one for me just because he is such an offensive line and then the way the Chargers took away everything defensively. But, I mean, maybe more so on Fangio, this one. Granted, the offense stopped at a certain point, didn't produce anymore, didn't keep up in the shootout. But the Raheem Mostert turnover was critical in that whole phase where Buffalo was pulling away. But defensively, I mean, coaching-wise, I'd put a little bit more on Fangio, maybe a lot more on Fangio than McDaniel, but McDaniel had his hiccups as well, whether it be also calling plays, but then the game management, that 2-point try I really didn't like, and then a number of other things throughout.
Your assessment of Tua's play.
Yeah, well, you just see how much the timing changes when he's under pressure. He needs to have, whether it's his time or the quick release stuff, to be working. So you saw pressure in this game, and then that disrupted a lot of the timing in this offense. So that's where you saw sort of a little bit of a downtick. And hey, he was with Josh Allen stride for stride for the first couple of possessions. Then after that, then the pressure started getting to him, and then it started. The other thing I wanted to point with McDaniel was the challenge. They were going to go for the 4th and 1 anyway, but I thought apparently I wasn't up on the rule that you can't be out of bounds going over to get it. I know Gene Steratore explained it on the broadcast, but I thought he was about to win that challenge, and then he really does not have a good challenge record in his career, and that one just added on to it.
Yeah, that definitely lowered the percentage. I'm with you there. All right, what do you got going on in the Sun Sentinel so folks can check you out, David?
Yeah, following up on this game, this atrocity that we saw from the Dolphins, the Teron Armstead injury. So we'll have updates on that. And then I'll be grading this performance tomorrow on the travel back day as my colleague Chris Perkins, he was back home, and he's going to be covering it live tomorrow, and McDaniel has more to say about this game. So I'm already thinking of what some of these grades are going to be. There's probably going to be some Fs in there.
Yeah. And well-deserved Fs, my brother.
Yeah.
Follow him on Twitter at David Furones _ and catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. David, as always, thank you, my brother.
Absolutely.
We'll catch up on Tuesday.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. There you go, David Furones, and our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins post-game report. And, of course, call our friends at EJD Construction if you live in Dade or Broward counties. 305-433-4843. They're fully insured, liability and workers' comp, and it doesn't matter what you need. They know how to do it, man. All right, so if you want to add an efficiency to your home, or you want to build an Airbnb, build a second floor to your house, modernize the kitchen, whatever it is, maybe you want theater seating in your home. You know, 2 of our listeners have built theater seating in their home and having a big old film room, which is actually really, really cool. Make sure you reach out to them, 305-433-4843.